The way I describe not fruits, the fruit.
I'm sorry, fruit.
The way I describe the fruit of the Spirit is just like any fruit. You have a bud, and then you start seeing a fruit, start shaping. That go through stages of getting ripe. I'll use it this way. I got a lot of beatings for climbing May Blaine pear tree. We didn't want the pears that fall on the ground. We wanted the ones out of the tree.
Right.
But Grandmama would say the pears in the tree wasn't ripe. When they ripe, they fall.
Right.
That's the ones you get. It still was a pear, but it wasn't ripe. You still a child of God,
Right.
you just ain't ripe. Now, I'll say like Paul said, but you should be going in that direction. You shouldn't stay green all the time. If you got a plum tree in your yard, and they give you those big, nice red plums, at a certain time of year, you're looking for them.
Right.
I'll put it this way. Almost all of us around here, we know about the muscadine grapes. You're not going to get them this time of year. You're going to get them in the fall of the year. And when they come out, everybody wants them. Now, you can probably go, say, July, and you'll see them on the vines. But they're not ripe. And almost everybody knows, and I say even with watermelons, if you grew up around here, when is watermelon season? Huh? Middle of June, July. Homegrown watermelons. Most of the people here, they will tell you, man, I ain't want no watermelon in no February. There ain't no watermelon. But what people forget, and I had to learn this, working with a food company, the weather stay nice in California. It stay nice in Florida. So what they do, they ship them in. But I still don't think they taste as good as good old South Carolina watermelons. That's why they ain't right. I'll say this to you. And this is what I believe. Now, y'all don't have to believe. I don't have the Bible to back me up on that. But I listen at a lot of things people say. What I believe is, if I am perfect, God will pluck me right at that time. I think He shows us His grace by allowing us to live because He knows we need some more working on.
Right.
So, I don't know whether you're saying they got everything covered.
No, not covered, but they're weakening some of the fruit. The fruit, they don't care about it, they just don't bother.
Well, if you're a true believer, I don't believe you can go without trying to get to all.
That's what I want to hear.
You have to try. You got to strive to meet every one of these things. The first thing is, and the first thing that make you do it is love. Because if you don't love God, you definitely ain't no servant.
That's right.
So the number one thing is love. And a lot of times I look at it this way. There are three things at the beginning of the fruit that should help you get past everything First one is what? Love. The second one is joy. And the next one is peace. If I love what I'm doing, and I get great joy out of it, man, I can have some peace, because you know what? I'm blocking you out, because you might think I'm going crazy. Because I'm just jumping and I'm happy and I'm excited, I'm having a good time, giving God some praise, and you walking around here and you marry me, but I don't even have a problem with you. I don't have a problem with you. Because you know what? I got peace. I got peace within. And because I got peace within, I'm steady going. I'm happy. You trying to kill my joy, you can kill my joy. And the word tells us the joy of the Lord is what? Our strength. So you know what? I got the love of God in me. And I got the joy of the Lord in me. And I got peace. Follow peace with all men. And wholeness without no man shall see the Lord. I tell people a lot of people see the holiness, they automatically attach it to a holiness church. But that's not what it's attached to. Holiness is cleanliness. I'm not lying to you when I tell you I love you. I'm not lying to you when I tell you I love God. That's clean. That's pure. So if you can say it that way, do all you can to be at peace with people. Because holiness out and being truthful about my relationship with you, that's what it's saying, being truthful. Being honest. I ain't putting on no front with you. This is what it is. So I'm developing. I got peace. And since I have these three things at the beginning, you know what I can do? I can have some long suffering. There was a time I probably wouldn't have long suffering. I probably would have slapped beside the head. But now, since I have the love of God in me, I have the joy of Jesus ringing in me, it gives me the strength and the power I need to overcome. I got peace in my mind. And you know what? I can put up with you dragging. I can put up with you complaining. I can put up with you making excuses. Because I have the love of God in me. I have joy. And I got peace. So I can put up with the long suffering. And you know what? While I'm going through the long suffering, I can be real gentle to you. And don't push me now. I'm trying. What was that last week? I say, they get on your... If they on the last one, what's getting ready to happen? You getting ready to pop. No. What they tell you, the lid getting ready to come off. So you know what? You can't, I put it this way. You can't have meekness, temperance, gentleness, goodness, and faith without first having love. That's the bud that popped up, and you say, oh, ooh, it's going to be something on this tree. Something coming. We just did baptism. Baptism gives us the symbol of being buried with Christ and rising new. So you know what? Here it is. We are at this place, and you can't have none of these things until you get the bud. You can't plant all the trees you want. Pears. Right now, I got a garden. I was out there yesterday hoeing. And I had this start spraying it because the deer saw a few little flowers, and when they see the flowers, they think it's time for them to eat. And they was nubbling, eating my cucumbers vines. So you know what they do? They eat when they eat the flower. I don't have a cucumber. So you understand what I'm saying? If you don't have Christ, you don't have a flower. There ain't no bud in you. Your walk with Christ, people ought to see that. They ought to see that. You trying to get to temperance and all that, you don't even love God. How you gonna get there? You don't even love God. So just like you plant fruit and stuff, you looking for stuff on it. Now I got to buy some more blueberry trees. I had one, and you normally can break them. I moved them, moved Sister Spain blueberry tree, and she used to get bowls off, and I moved them. And every day I go out there, I'm looking. I go over to one, little limb sticking out. I think, I said, that's right, that's dead. That's dead. So I've been looking since spring came in for at least one little leaf. So I have to tell y'all this in church tonight so she catch it in church. So it kind of smooth things over. But so there's no leads, no nothing. So what I tell you? It ain't gonna be no blueberries on that tree. You right, well, I got to go to Lowe's. But what I'm saying to you is, you can say what you want to say, but you can't, until you have the love of God in you, you don't have nothing to show for God. You don't see nothing. There's nothing. When an individual gets saved, I can tell you this. Your family know it. Your family know you if nobody else don't know it. And you might not be up here, but I tell you what, they know it. Because there is something that shows them that it's been changed. So is that what you trying to figure out of that? Well, that shouldn't be excuse, but that's a true statement. Because you remember I told y'all a few weeks ago that one thing I don't like, I've been knowing Bishop Spain for 20 years. And he's the same man. When I met him, he's the same man today. I don't want to be. I hadn't grown none in 20 years. What was that? No, I heard. I mean, people say that see you on. Every time you see him, he's the same. Well, I understand you if you're trying to say I'm the same like I love God. But give me say, man, I remember when years ago when he first got into church and he first started preaching. But when I look at him now, ooh, look what God has done. That's what you want people to say about you. I remember they used to be real ashamed to get up at church, do anything. But you call them now, oh, they don't hesitate. That's what we want to hear. But me personally, I think when a true believer dies, they accomplish everything. And they're a perfect individual. Because we said, God saw the flower and it was ready to be plucked. He plucked the flower. That's what we say. So if we say that, we have to accept the fact that when a true believer goes home to live with the Lord, I don't think people leave here without accomplishing the mission that God gave them. If they serve Him, they accomplish the mission. And at that point, you're right, they were ready. Everything was in place. Everything was in place. I remember when my daddy got sick, my mama said to him, she said, Simon, you can't go outside now, you can't get on the tractor, you can't do this and do that. She said, but what you do have, you have time in this bed for anything that you might could think of yourself that nobody else know about. You have time to get that right with God. And that thing always stayed with me. You have time. So if there's anything you can think of, you got time to deal with it now. That all right? I'm okay. All right. All right. I'll take the okay. All right. All right. Where we at? Okay. All right. All right. We're gonna start there, and we're gonna try to get as much as we can done. And no, you all right? We're here for Bible study. I didn't take 2 hours tonight, did I? Okay. All right. I can get somebody to read because the law. Stop right there. Did y'all get that? I'm gonna ask you a simple question for now. How do you know you're speeding? Huh? In the car. No, we know we speed because we passed the sign that says 35 miles an hour, 55 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour.
That's when you start rocking, yeah.
So when we see that, that tells us, well, go through El Belton. I think that's El Belton. When they got the little thing in the center of the road, it say 45. And you ride along. If it say 54 and the man pull you over, shouldn't we say anything? Okay. So that's what it was saying to us. The law was something that was there, and you didn't know you were doing wrong until you read the law. Now, there's some things in the law that people argue over and complain about and everything else, but that's what helped separate us. But let's go on and then we'll. All right. Whosoever follow him will what?
Shall not walk in darkness.
Shall not walk in darkness.
So shall walk in light.
So if you in darkness, you know what? You're wrong. Because the word says so. If we didn't have the word, you wouldn't know whether you was right or wrong. You just do. Can you imagine this world with no guidance? We just do what we want to do? No, nothing. All right.
Paul explains, but sin, taking occasion by the commandment, wrought in me all manner of concupiscence, covetous desires. For without the law, sin was dead. In other words, the law causes us to concentrate on the forbidden. God still desires we live his way and obey the law, but he wants us to focus on him, not a list of commands. Instead of focusing on the 10 commandments that require legalistic obedience, we are to concentrate on 2 commands that involve relationships. Jesus summed up all the law and the prophets in 2 commandments. The first and great is to love the Lord with all our hearts, souls, and minds. What is the second commandment?
And the second is like
And the
unto.
second commandment is like unto it, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
Now, let me show you. I'm going to go back to Galatians. You go back to that. The first thing I told you was what? The scripture tells us the first thing we must do is do what? Love the Lord. Now we want to go to heaven, we want to do everything, but we don't want to love God. And the second is what? Like unto the first,
Love thy neighbor as thyself.
love thy neighbor as thyself. I'm going to take a knife and stab myself in the chest. I'm going to take a hammer and put my finger down and just keep hitting it. I mean, think about it. Do you love anybody that will do harm to themselves? We say they what? Crazy. Mental. Something wrong with it. You see a man standing up, and all of a sudden he go get a brick. I don't like you. Pow! I don't like you. Pow! He busted his head open. What you gonna do? Run. You're right. You gonna run. Man, this man crazy. He done split his head, blood running down. He studied. I know if he act like that to himself, boy, if he get hold of me, he gonna kill me. He's crazy. So we got to love God. That'll take us back to Galatians. You got to love. That's what I say. You can't get to the goodness and meekness and temperance unless you first love God. You can't. So this telling us we got to love others like we love ourselves. So that means if I don't do harm to myself, I shouldn't want to do harm to you. That's what it amounts to. Like I say, if I was a person like that, y'all tell them, say, hey, call them people with the white jacket that button in the back. They need to come. Because Bishop done lost his mind. I'm standing up here teaching y'all tonight. All of a sudden, I'm up here and I just turn around and run right into that thing with my head. Boom! I come back and say, yeah, I want to tell y'all about the goodness of the Lord. Then I run into the wall. Boom! Roll that mother. But y'all gonna say, the bishop lost his mind. Well, he running into the wall. Then if I start next you, Evangelist Ray, what you gonna do?
Oh, I'm gonna knock you out.
Why?
I'm scared of you.
And if you're scared of me, you're gonna do what? You're gonna
Try to
put up
help.
your defense.
Just try to help you.
That's what's happening to us in church. Because of the way some people act, people are afraid of them. And when they come next to them, they put up their defense. That's not what God wants from us. He wants us to be at a place that I can come to you and I know you're going to treat me like you would treat yourself. You dummy, go somewhere and sit down. I ain't coming to see you. I ain't coming to see you. No, I ain't coming to see you. Think about it. Love your neighbor as yourself. I ain't gonna look in the mirror and say, you dumb, ugly fella, get out. I'm looking in the mirror, I'm talking to myself. What y'all think if y'all to walk in the bathroom? You ain't want to say Walmart and somebody standing in front of the mirror. Yeah. Boy, you one ugly fella. Look at yourself. Y'all running out of the restroom. Hey, y'all need to go in there. There's a man there talking to himself in the mirror. Think about it. We wouldn't put ourselves down. Why we want to put others down? Have we ever fell short? And we was happy that somebody was there to pick us up. Somebody was there to help us. So you know what? Then do it to somebody else. What's the thing they got now? They call, say, what is it? Pay it forward. Somebody do something for you. You don't have to worry about doing it back, but just pay it forward. Pay it to somebody else. Just pay it forward. Do something for somebody else. Somebody did something for you. Don't give the testimony and bragging about what they did for you, but then all of a sudden you know somebody that could use your help. But you ain't want to help them. They look like they're crook. Yeah. I don't know, man. I ain't fooling up with that. But let's go on. Let's go on.
This makes the law positive rather than negative. Instead of concentrating on what we shouldn't do, we focus on what we should do. When we concentrate on the negatives of the law, we are drawn to sin. Therefore, Paul writes, "For I was alive without the law once, but when the commandment came, sin revived, and I died. And the commandment which was ordained to life, I found to be unto death. The law causes us to center our attention on the forbidden, and we are drawn to that on which we focus. A few years ago, I took an experienced rider's course for motorcycle riders. In that course, we were taught that to avoid an obstacle in the road, we must not look at it. Instead, we should look at where we need to go, because we go where we look. We are just naturally drawn to where we look." Paul writes.
Stop right there. Now, I ride one time. Let me tell you. If you see something in front of you, if you keep your eyes on that and don't turn your wheel, what's going to happen to you? You're going to run right into it. That's why it's saying you got to refocus your eyes. By nature, all of us, which our listener say it, and we'll get to it. By nature, all of us were born into sin, and with sin, everything we were told not to do, it became a desire to do.
we always wonder why. And we come up, I wonder why they telling me not to go. They must have went there when they was young. I wonder what happened to them when they went there. It don't mean they went there, but I'm just saying. You tell a child, say, don't touch that on that table. That child like this. I done told you, don't you touch my stuff on the table. As soon as you leave the room, all of a sudden you hear something fall on the floor. My leg must have hit it. But what I'm saying to you, that come natural. Disobedience come natural. Living righteous takes work. Not following orders come natural. It just do. They ain't gonna tell me I can't do it. Only thing I got to do is stay black and die. Y'all ever heard that? But I mean, you know, so that's the natural part of us. But what we have to understand as a church, we don't live off the natural man. We live off the spiritual man. And because we live off the spiritual man, we are to obey more than what we are to disobey. But disobedience comes natural. It just shows up. Just gonna do it. I can say, Elder Brown, don't slap Evangelist Ray. And I say, Evangelist Ray, she slapped you, you better not slap her back.
Turn the other cheek.
My daddy said I haven't got there yet.
Somebody else ain't got there neither. Their eyes got big and they ain't saying the thing. But I'm just saying, because, and a lot of times, because somebody tell you not to do something, we do it. And there are times that things happen, but the spirit in us, and we say, you know what, I'm just not gonna follow that up. I'm not gonna follow it up. We just, but if somebody say, you better not, that stirs it up. You wanna fight me? Knock this thing out of my hand. Knock it out of my hand. Knock it out of my hand.
You the pastor, I guess.
But I'm just saying, because I'm telling you not to do it, you do it. But if nobody don't tell you, you keep going.
Bitch, you remember the hot fits? They say not to touch it.
Yeah.
You remember that hot fits?
Yeah, yeah.
We touched them. What did happen? You got burned.
But that's the same way with old stoves and old heater. They heat the hot. I don't believe it's that hot. That's what we do. I don't believe it. It is kind of hot though. We told you it was hot. Don't touch it. But you had to try it anyway. All right.
Paul writes that when he focused on the negatives of the law, sin, taken occasion by the commandment, deceived me, and by it slew me. When we focus on the law, our sin natures deceive us into sinning, and the penalty of sin is death. However, Paul writes, wherefore the law is holy, and the commandment holy and just and good.
cannot do the things that you would.
I was use it with that contrary. They don't go together.
So then these are contrary to the one, to the one, to the other. Contrary to the one to the other.
What do it mean? There's a war going on in our head. And how do we win the battle?
Help of God.
Discipline. You know how we win? The word says something very important. Put on the whole armor of God. We win the battle by getting ourselves ready for the enemy. Because I promise you, the enemy is coming. And what do you mean he's coming? I'm not talking about he coming from out of town and attacking you. I'm talking about you sitting right in your house. Nobody new came in, but Satan starts in your head. And something say, no, that ain't right to do that. And you've been thinking about it, and here it is. You know, Satan say, ain't heard. You can sit here, be a little weak puppy if you want to. I told y'all that I can share my life stories with people. I told you about me and Sister Spain. Sister Spain goes shopping and she stayed gone. You know, she'd go to 4 or 5 different stores and get food and all. And, you know, so I'm at home. The kids were still home at that time. But so now the kids is running raggedy and I'm getting frustrated. I'm hollering at her, I'm getting on. She goes to the grocery store. And I say, no, she ought to be back by now. She ought to be back by now. And the Spirit of God says, she's doing a good thing. She's getting food. Satan say, how you know she getting food? So I say, no, she going. I just can't do all those stores. I can't do all those stores. So that's why I'm saying, I'm at home. I'm watching TV. So I say, okay, she'll be back in a little bit. So time go by, she ain't back. I'm in the house. All of a sudden the car pull up. The Spirit say, don't say nothing. Don't say nothing.
Don't say that.
So I'm sitting there. See somebody pushing me over. But so the car, she pulls up with the car. So I'm trying to keep myself composed. So I'm sitting in the chair. Satan do just enough to push you past. So what happened was, she gets out, she get a couple bags, she opened the door. I don't even unlock the door. She unlocked the door. She come in with the bag. She said, you can't help me getting stuff out of the car. I said, shut the door on. Where you been all this time? So everything that the Spirit told me, just don't say nothing. Help her get the groceries. That just what I say, you can't help me get stuff. It just, all the rest of that went over my head. It happens. I know everyone in here got a story where the Spirit told you, shh. And Satan say, go ahead. Keep your mouth closed. Keep your mouth closed. They're going to get you next. They're going to get you again. You better say something.
She be going from one house and leave you there. All them kids.
I know how to go over there. I was really God.
I need something too.
Yeah, well,
But Bishop, isn't that
well, grocery shopping. I did the clothes shopping, she did the grocery shopping. I mean, that's the way it's always been, and, you know, she'll just say, she'll go to IGA and get what's on sale there, and then she'll go to this store and get something on sale there, she'll go to this store, and I tried it a few times, just wasn't my thing, so she don't even invite me now. And I'm not mad with it that she don't invite me. But that's, you know, I'm just saying, so, you're right, because, you know, that's what was said to me, just let it go. I mean, your wife out getting food and stuff, come back. I mean, just, but I took one little thing and it let me run my mouth. And, Sister Spain grew up now, I would tell y'all. She grew up now. Because one time when incidents like that, if I said something, she would just shut down. She ain't say nothing to me. And she'd keep doing what she's doing and she ain't say nothing. And I had to calm down because that eat me up because it's like, she ain't saying nothing. You ain't got, you can't, you just stop. You can't, yeah, you know. No, so, you know, God have a way of working it out. Like I say, you know, I say that, and when I say she shut down, she gonna do the things she do. She just ain't talking to me. She ain't saying that. Oh, yeah, that you can't hear me. Now, I'm gonna show you how God works. If it's like that, and she'll tell you. But before we go to sleep, I said, we ain't going to sleep like this. I said, we ain't going to sleep like this. And she still be quiet. I said, you might as well come on here and give me a hug. You might as well come on here, because I ain't going to bed like this. I might die tonight. So, you know, you can see good things, you see bad things. And that'll go back to what I was talking about with that fruit developing in us. He help us develop things. So I'm a whole lot calmer now than what I used to be. Say a whole lot less. Because you fighting a losing battle. Let me tell you, it's hard to fight somebody that's saved. I'll tell you, every one of you in here, if you saved, filled with the Holy Ghost, got God on your side, people can't win with you. They can't win. Because God will humble you in such a way that out of all they try to say and try to do, they just can't break you. That's your relationship with God that gets you where they can't break you. Over the years, God had to deal with me on people trying to break me. And he builds you up so that you can be able to stand. All right.
Our sinful nature love to break rules. This has tremendous implications in parenting. Kids don't respond well to rules. They respond to relationships.
How many of y'all sneaked out of the house?
Sneak.
Yeah. You ain't got that like you scared. They can't see your finger right there. You had it on one side where they couldn't see it. All right.
Remember the principle, rules without relationship leads to rebellion. Kids don't respond well to dictators, and if they do, it will only be for a short time. Kids are prone to obey rules if they have a good relationship
sign? The law reveals, and I say that God's word reveals to us how sinful things are. And that's where people get in trouble, because they don't want to take the word for what it is. And when you don't take the word for what it is, you find a way to get around it. Just like the speed limit say 55. Oh, I can drive 60. They give you 5 miles over. That's what a lot of us say. But I can tell you a little town, if you went through it, when I was working, they always told us drive 2 miles below the speed limit. Because if you drive 1 mile over, 2 miles over, they're gonna write you up. Because the police get paid off the tickets that they write. Little small town called Scranton. And let me tell you, every time I went through there, and I think it was one place in there the speed limit dropped down to 30. It's on Highway 52. I'm driving along, and all of a sudden I think about it. Speed limit was 30, I dropped down to about 25. I said, I ain't in no rush. But some people say, oh man, you got 5 miles over. That's just like on 95. Oh man, you can drive 80. Okay, you can. But if the man happened to stop you, suppose he left home this morning and his wife had him mad. Think about it. His wife had him mad, or the children got on his nerve, or something happened. Now he said, you know what? I ain't playing today. It's 70 miles an hour. I'm going to set it at 71. Anybody run past 71, I'm going to pull them over. What do you say?
You speed.
I went to court with a young man recently. The man said he clocked me doing 60 and a 45. I said, well, did he? I ain't doing no 60. I said, well, were you speeding? I might have been speeding, but he ain't clocked me doing it. I said, how you know where he clocked me? Well, I tell you what. I'm gonna tell him I think he got something against me. I said, well, you can go to court for that. I said, best thing you can do is go to court and say, look here. I plead guilty. I ain't pleading guilty. I say, well, you speeding. Yeah, I'm speeding. Well, how you gonna go and plead not guilty? But you know you was speeding. You just don't think you was driving the speed limit the man said. But you know you was going faster than what the speed limit was. Can you imagine people, if they could, I know they can't, standing before God at the judgment seat and giving God them excuses? But they ain't gonna happen. Think about it. They know they were wrong. They know they did stuff wrong. What are you gonna tell God? Now, God, I ain't guilty. You a merciful God. And that's what a lot of people say. God is a merciful God, so he shouldn't punish me for this. By nature, we rebel. By nature, we do. Because we were born into sin, and it come natural. If you ever run up on anybody and they tell you that they never sinned, you run fast. Kick your shoes off and run barefoot. Just run, just run, just run. And when they say run and don't look back, don't look back. I know a man one time, the man was preaching, the man said him and his wife been married for X amount of years, said they ain't never had a disagreement. I said, oh Lord have mercy. I said, I hate to call the man a liar, but that man is lying. I don't think been married and they ain't never had a disagreement. What do you think, Dee? You think? What do you think about Dee? What do you think?
I know that story.
Listen, think about it. You think about it. Let me ask you this. How many of you got sisters or brothers and you can tell me you never had a disagreement with them? Huh? Everyone else that had a job, have you ever ran up anybody on the job you disagreed with?
Yes, sir.
Mother, that must have brought it back, cause your whole hand went. I mean, but I'm just saying, when we think about it, and I go back to Galatians with love, I go back to the first commandment is what? And the second is likened to the first. So you know what? Since you know you've been in some of them spots, since you know you've been in some of those tight places and you didn't respond like you should, when there's somebody else that don't respond like they should, don't throw them to the trash. The Bible makes it plain to us. He said, if your brother is overtaken in a fault, those of you that are, it just didn't say because you hold a position, but those of you that are spiritual minded, you go to them in what way?
Love.
And meekness. You can't get around love. That's what I'm saying. Everything we think of as Christians, if you're trying to skip over love, you will never develop to the fruit that you need to be. Because you can't get past love. We are saved because God so loved. Even with God so loved us. That's how we get saved. He sent Jesus. Jesus died on the cross because he loved us. Because he could have not died. Because you remember when he said, no man have the power to take my life. You know, I mean, I'm going through this because I'm letting y'all do this to me. That's because he loved us. So, if we want to be like Jesus, we got to find out how to forgive and how to live. That's hard. That's hard to do sometimes. I had a preacher just recently told me, he said, you didn't give me the answer I wanted. He said, but I'm having, that's a hard pill for me to swallow. I said, but you're going to have to swallow. I can't give you the answer you want. I can give you the right answer. And then you do what you want to do with it. That's it for tonight. Anybody got any comments or anything? Keep in mind we on page 50. You don't need it? You sure? So if you ask for one again next